Hey guys, these are the single letter phonograms. A, A, A. B, J, E, E. G, J, H, I, J, O, A, O, U. P, Q, Q. Always needs a U. U is not a vowel here. Z, U, W, Y, I. All right, if you're using this for your classroom, you can go ahead and stop it now. And for Cornerstone teachers, I'm going to go ahead and go back through these for a little bit of training. All right, the first one, you'll notice a makes 3 sounds. The first one, is the most commonly used sound for any spelling that you're going to be doing or any reading. When the student comes upon an A, they should first guess a. Try that first. Unlike from what I've heard, like in Spanish, an A only makes 1 sound. Each of the vowels in Spanish only make 1 sound. It's different in English. That's what makes it a little bit more complicated. So with a, they are going to have to choose which sound they're saying. I want to point out that B is voice. If you have the students put their fingers right here, B, they will notice that their voice box is vibrating, or I like to say it's purring with the cat. So what happens is if you were reading lips and you were actually saying the phonogram, you make the exact same shape with your mouth. And of course, I like to teach the students that they use their lips, their tongue, and their teeth to make a sound. They additionally, in some words, they make the same shape for different letters, but whether it's voiced or unvoiced can change significantly what the sound is. So you'll notice is voiced and is unvoiced. The other thing that I'd like to point out is you really have to work with your students not to add any vowels on to any of the phonograms, but specifically with B and Z. If they do, you would have B or B. So if you were trying to, let's, for example, say the word boy, and you added an then you would have boy. So we're going to be very careful not to add any vowels. And this takes a little bit of practice because a lot of times students are taught this is the. Okay? Makes 2 different sounds. The second C that you hear, we were taught growing up, was the soft C. And the rule that goes with that is C says when followed by E, I, or Y. It's kind of nice to know there's actually a rule. And in fact, these phonograms work with 99% of the English words. So it's kind of comforting to know. When you're doing things to spell, if you have a word like we'll say the C says because it's followed by an E. E. The second part, the second sound that we make is like smiling. E. G. J. I tell the students the first one is a hard G, G, and God comes first. Because sometimes they confuse, is it just G or G, J? So it's G. Now, the second one, I've drawn it lightly on the card. The phonogram card does not come this way, but I've added it to my set because I want to remind them that G may say G when followed by E, I, or Y. We emphasize may because it's not always. If I have been taught in the past to wrinkle your nose on the first one so that the students can really distinguish, and this is kind of a multi-sensory approach. If I. And you open your mouth for that. O, U. I like to tell the students that their mouth is getting smaller. And this kind of tunes in their brain and attaches it to what their mouth is doing. And I always tell students you have the job of teaching your brain how to spell. You're not born that way. You don't know how to spell automatically. So focusing on what your mouth is doing can actually benefit the students and tune them in just a little bit. So I'll say O, U. Did your mouth get smaller? Let's try it again. O, U. Q, Q. Q always needs a U. U is not a vowel here. In the word quit, you'll have w, I, and actually the I, this middle finger, is the one that is working as a vowel in this word. The U is not a vowel. And Q, U together make the K, W, w sound. You'll also want to take note that anytime you start a word with a Z sound, it will never be an F making that sound. So students can rest assured that if a word begins with Z, if a word ends with Z, like boxes, it is going to be an S making the Z sound. It can be. Okay. Their mouth gets smaller. I'd also like to point out that W is voice, where WH is unvoiced. Like in the word white, where this phonogram is voice. Actually makes two sounds, even though we use one finger, it's two sounds. You're hearing KS there, but we don't want to spell it with a KS, we want to spell it with an X. That's why we match our fingers when we do things to spell to the phonograms, not to the sounds we hear, but to the phonograms. I. This is one of the trickiest ones. I had a hard time buying into this at first, but when I started really thinking about it, it made sense. You'll hear that the most common usage is like yellow. It is the trickiest one, like in the word baby. We don't say baby in America, but if you look in England, you would. My grandbaby is coming for a visit. So proper English, the wife says it. And the last sound it can make is I. This is kind of obvious, like the word my. And that's it for today. My next video I'll be making, I'm going to be teaching you the multi-letter phonogram. Have a great day.